In TFT, a few units can be transformed into monstrous carries by taking their specific hero augments. Stat 11 features 5 different hero augments to play with. Today, I'm going to show you 2 games I played, playing Kobuko and his Lucky Paws in 2 different NA tournaments. Today, I'll be going over Kobuko and his augment Lucky Paws, which grants him the ability to farm gold and deal massive damage. Before the gameplay itself, I'm just going to quickly go over the augment and how to play it for anyone who's newer or interested. So please feel free to skip to the section over here for the gameplay itself. But Kobuko is a 1-cost Fortune and Bruiser tank. Here's how he looks like. He's generally a solid early game tank that you won't play late game unless you're playing Vertical Bruiser as a trade bot. His passive gives him permanent health for each gold gained from interest, but more importantly, his ultimate ability is named Money Dance, which heals him over 2 seconds, and his next attack will do bonus magic damage. Normally this effect isn't the biggest thing because you're not going to be having Kobuko as your primary tank late game, but with his hero augment, it becomes really important because Kobuko is going to be your main carry. With Lucky Paws, you're going to gain a 2-star Kobuko. His strongest ability will deal 225% damage, and then if he kills an enemy, he's guaranteed to drop 1 gold. So you can see that there's going to be a cyclic effect over here, where farming more gold will allow you to have more interest, which makes Kobuko have more HP in general, which will then allow him to do more damage because his magic damage scales with max HP. It's going to be really important with Kobuko to keep interest thresholds and maintain your economy well, and making sure to not overroll at 3-1 when you have to hit Kobuko 3. So Lucky Paws currently averages a 4.22 at 2-1 when taken in Masters Plus. It used to be even more broken because they nerfed the ability part where it used to do 250% damage, but it's still incredibly effective when built right and taken in the right spots. Okay, side note, I've seen a comp recently where people rerolled Sivir and Kobuko without the hero augment, and it's called Kobuko no Hero. Froden actually made a YouTube video on it on his channel, which is really good, but I'm pretty sure you can't play this without something like Ticket, as he says on his website and TFT Academy, which you should check out. So of course, when I make videos, I like testing everything, and I tried playing this comp, and earlier I was in Emilyywang's game, and straight up, this comp is not good. You need Lucky Paws, so I'm gonna teach you guys how to play it in that way and show you infographics. But you can see over here, I rerolled Sivir and Kobuko, and unfortunately, Emily does lose to me, which I don't even understand how. She has 6 Dryad, but she still gets gapped by Sivir. I have pretty good augments. Best friends, you have my bow and Zeke's in the back. But like, this comp is not real bad. It's just not real. I do have a declaw on Kobuko, but I wouldn't really recommend it unless you have a good spot. Anyways, alright, so in the top left, you're going to see the best items and artifacts for Kobuko. I have more detailed sections, so I'm going to go over it in a bit. But to play this comp in the early game, you want to be focused on playing Vertical Bruisers and early game Story Reverse. You want to pick up stuff like the Sivir, Riven, and Zyra as your backline. Then you really want to focus on making gold and interest breakpoints. I think that playing 5 loss is a pretty good strategy, so you can get as much gold as possible. And then you really need to pick prio for these good tank items you can see over here. I think a good board for stage 2 would just be something like 4 Bruiser, or you can just play Story Reverse plus Kobuko. And then what's important is on 3-1, you want to roll at level 4 odds. Because it's when your 1-cost odds are highest, please make sure to not dig below 30 gold. If you're really close to Kobuko, you can justify going pretty far down with your gold, but you really want to accrue interest so that he scales and gains more HP. Every interest counts because he gains permanent health for each gold gained from it, so make sure you keep that in mind. And then for late game, you just want to be leveling once you hit your Kobuko 3. And then your vision should be always playing minimum 6 Bruiser. So you're going to be playing Galio, you're going to be playing Silas, Galio, Riven, TK, Aatrox, or any other Bruiser, Rek'Sai if you don't have any of these. Silas can be a secondary carry if you add stuff like Crown Guard and Spark and decent tank items on him. And generally, any leftover items will go in Galio. For your backline, it's really flexible, but the best backline by far is going to be Irelia, because she fits perfectly within the Story Reverse. You're always going to have 2 Story Reaver with Riven and Galio. And then Irelia is just going to be that perfect anti-heal applier and a really good damage unit as well. If you don't hit Irelia, you can play legendaries like Azir, Rakan, or anything else. Even stuff like Morgana is fine. Kai'Sa's not that good in this, but any backline will do, just be flexible. Most important thing is hitting that Kobuko 3 and trying to stay above 50 gold once you stabilize and hit 6 Bruiser. Then you push level 9 for these legendaries. For the best augments, you're going to have stuff like well-fed, Bruiser +1. If you have Bruiser +1, always try to play 8 Bruiser because it's really OP. You can put Bruiser Spat on Irelia and still have Story Reaver 3. And then just play the rest of the 7 Bruisers as your front line. And then just random note for Kale. Usually I see people go red Kale in this comp, but if you really need the shredder, you can go green. I think red's the best, but it's a debate that people have been having, so just pick what you think's the best from your spot. And in general, combat is always good. You can find a lot of the answers to your questions about the best augments, builds, or items for any of these comps. For augments, you can just see what the good augments are in general. Like I said earlier, well-fed, heavy hitters, all that good stuff. Sort by Lucky Paws, and then 3-star Kobuko with 3 items. then you'll be able to find out a lot, right? And then going over the items in depth, Kobuko's best items will be Dragon's Claw of Redemption. These are healing items that will provide a lot of utility for him. Since these items scale off max HP with their healing, it's gonna make sure that Kobuko lives the longest. And in most cases, you really want to be building these two items on Kobuko with Lucky Paws. The best third item will be Bramble Vest or Steadfast Heart respectively. I think that Bramble is generally better, but if you have Jeweled Lotus, Steadfast is definitely better than Bramble Vest because it has a glove and gives you more crit. I actually show you how I picked Jeweled Lotus in my first game later and do really well with it along with these two items. That's where the screenshot comes from. But these four are your primary items. Spark is going to be really good in Kobuko in the stats. That's because any source of magic shred will boost stats in general, because people who have shred and anti-heal are going to perform better than people who don't. And anti-heal is going to be mandatory in any comp. Without anti-heal, you're never going to kill stuff like the duelist players or comps that have a lot of healing, like Amumu and Ilaoi in the forward and frontline. And Spark is going to be super important with magic-based damage comps. Without Spark, if you're facing something like a Declaw or Tis Kobuko without Magic Shred, it's going to be incredibly difficult for you to take down a lot of tanks. So this is the reason why Onyx Spark is good on Kobuko in the stats. If you could greet it on something like a Silas or maybe even have a Shiv in your backline, then I think it's going to be better to have these four items as a combination. But if you have to build Spark or you have to kill, or you don't have, like, for example, you don't have an extra cloak, or you really need shred, it's never going to hurt putting it on Kobuko. So for the utility over here, same principle as Spark, but for anti-heal. And then utility, please do not put these on Kobuko, but they're the same principle as earlier. You always want to have anti-heal on your comp, so Red Buff and Morello will be really good. Early game, you can put it on Zyra, Zoe, anyone really, and then transition it to Irelia as the max cap. Then Shiv is going to be solid if you don't have a Spark. It is going to be a source of shred. And then next, I'm going to go over these items. Whenever I make a tier list, I'm going to make it clear that me putting an item in mid doesn't mean you shouldn't build it. It just means it's going to be less optimal and perform less better in the stats than here. But let's say you have a lot of belts that you need to kill, or you don't have the components for this. It's not going to be the worst thing to evaluate your spot and see that, oh, I do need to put this on Kobuko to survive. Or I'm not playing for a win out, I just have to preserve HP by slamming your components. You never want to be stuck with a lot of components in your bench greeting for Bis when you can easily make something like this if you have to. So just make sure you know what you're doing when you slam these, and if you have to, it's fine. Warmogs is the most acceptable out of these options because Kobuko does scale with max HP. But as a bruiser, it's going to be better to build stuff on him that provide either healing or a bit more resistances from Bramble or Steadfast Heart. It's fine though. These ones I don't like as much. Kobuko does scale with the max HP, so he won't utilize stuff from here as effectively, like Adaptive Helm, Gargoyle Stoneplate, Sterax, and Vow. And then I do see a few people build BT Titans on Kobuko. I'll just straight up say that it's not good. When you build Kobuko, he scales off max HP, and these are bruiser items, so I really don't recommend putting these two as a combination on him. And then for terrible items, you just have Crown Guard, Hodge, and Pure Damage. His ability will do more damage if you give more health, so make sure you do that, and don't build stuff like JG, Archangels, Crown Guard on him. Then next, let's move over to the artifacts. So Talisman of Ascension is going to be the best artifact for Kobuko by far. This is because after 22 seconds, he's going to proc the 100% bonus max HP that it's going to give, and then bonus damage as well. Kobuko as a unit already with Lucky Paws, when he's stacked with Vertical Bruiser, is incredibly tanky. So you're going to be telling the other team to be on a timer to kill it before 22 seconds. And then when Talisman procs on Kobuko, it's going to be unkillable. It's a great item. Then for other good artifacts, you have Eternal Winter, great utility artifact. Hawk Crusher gives max HP, which is really good. Enervating Locket is also solid. Silvermere Dawn doesn't have that many stats, but it's still pretty solid on him. It has a low sample size, so I would be careful. But I've seen decent stuff because he's already so slow and he can stun, so maybe it's not that bad. Eno Visage is the worst of these four because it's the same principle as Warmogs, but it does give a bit of healing, so it's fine. And then these artifacts are just ones you should avoid. Seekers and Trinity have decent stats, but I don't think it's that good. Seekers can stack a lot in Kobuko because every time you get a takedown, get MR, armor, and AP, but it doesn't give that HP stats that he likes or any other stats that pure tanks will enjoy. And then for bad artifacts, just trust me, like, I wouldn't really build these on anyone. Trenchcoat used to be really good in Kobuko, but with a bug fix to HP values on clones and inconsistent HP values in general, the stats on this on patch 14.11 isn't that good right now. It used to be really broken in 14.10, but I think they fixed something about it. So I just wouldn't recommend building Trenchcoat on Kobuko right now. And then, like, just don't build these artifacts on Kobuko in general. They're just bad. So yeah, that's going to be my Kobuko gameplay guide. All right, so this first game will be from the Tacticians Trials II, which happened 3 weeks ago. It was patch 14.9 when Lucky Paws was a lot more OP. You can already see over here that there were a lot of good players. Kermex, David AS, and a lot of good players from different regions. So we're going to be going over the portals. 3 champions is just a safe pick that a lot of pros default to because it's not a lot of variance. And this is going to be the early stages, so there's not a lot that's going to be going on. I'm just going to be holding key pairs and then scouting around, so not much. Over here, I'm prioritizing the Story River opener. It was still really good 2 patches ago, and it still is. But I'm going to be looking to hold the Jax pair, stuff like that. Probably going to sell the Caitlyn. And just early game, you really just want to be focused on holding as much pairs as possible and having a direction. You see over here, I got Jax, which opens up Ink Shadow opener or potential Warden snipers or something like that. There's going to be a lot of different options. So I'm just holding different pairs right now. All right, and then for the augments, we're going to see we have Dragon Lord Crest, which typically isn't that good 2-1, even 2 patches ago when they were slightly better with Janna reroll. Not today isn't the best early game with my items because I have Nashers plus tier. And then Hero Grab Bag just isn't good in this meta where there isn't a lot of reroll options. You can see I immediately rerolled the right because it's not good. Then I'm just looking at the stat screen on the left. And then you can see at 35 seconds left, I have Lucky Paws enabled, which I already know is extremely broken. This was on patch 14.9, I believe. So it used to have 250% damage. As of right now, it has 225%. So this used to average like a 3.98 and it's broken. I'm just looking at the stats for the others, but I already know in my mind that I'm going to pick Lucky Paws. And I'm just scouting around to make sure that there's no contesters. But with a redemption start, it's going to be incredibly effective because with Lucky Paws, I don't really look for having the units and the hero augments in general. I look for having the items. You can see over here, I managed to get Rek'Sai in. I can get Econ pretty easily, and it's going to be a solid spot overall. You can see that Kobuko will be able to farm early, and you really want to have that interest threshold high in the beginning by getting a lot of gold because you'll be able to scale with his max HP. Now you can see there's an encounter at 2-2, which there really isn't much to play around. If, for example, this was another component like a cloak, you could get punished because there could be an item encounter. You can see this is a Rakan's encounter, which gives you a choice to recombobulate or gain 5 gold. Now, I mean, this is a pretty obvious choice. 5 gold is really high roll for me because I'll be able to snowball my economy further and get more stacks on Kobuko's passive. And early game will be pretty chill in general. The good thing this game, there isn't a lot of contesters. My second game, actually, there were like 2 people holding Kobukos, so I couldn't hit, but even though I only had 3 Kobukos to start, it wouldn't be a problem for me to hit it. What's most important is that I had a redemption. You can see over here, I have Kale that I get from Story River. Now, there's a lot of debate within what the best choice is. I think here I pick 8, but I think in this patch and meta in general, red is better because they buffed it. But when playing Kobuko, you're typically looking to cap out with Irelia, so red's can be better. Green's not bad because you won't have shred early game, but any of these 3 should be fine for your spot. If you have a lot of AP items, you can even consider doing blue Kale, but I just chose green to be safe. Right, so I'm just scouting around, and this guy picks Crown Guarded 2-1, which you don't see a lot of anymore. This was the meta in 14.9 where Sage Salas was a lot better before he got nerfed along with all the bruisers, so I can see what people are angling. It's going to be really important, especially in Tourney, to have an idea of what everyone is playing. You can see Carousel. I really want the Declaw component. As I said earlier, the best items for Kobuko will be Redemption, Declaw +1, and since I don't have a cloak, it's going to be really good. Really lucky that it landed on Aatrox as well. And the bow is kind of an awkward component in this comp. Immediately, I think it's going to be Shiv or red buff, but it's not a bad component to be stuck with such a sword. Now over here, you can see that I elect to play 4 Bruiser because I got the Aatrox from Orb. Earlier, I did say that Story Rivers are good, but you should prioritize having vertical Bruisers because the HP scaling on Kobuko is massive. It's going to give him more damage overall. Usually slamming components on units won't be that bad, and I know I'm going to be building Dragon's Claw regardless, but the only time it can really punish you is if there's any encounters in the top. So I don't think that the Cloak Slam is bad in general. Then over here, there's going to be a Riven in shop. Now, typically I would want to buy this because you're always going to play Riven in your endgame comp, but I'm just thinking if I should hold it over the Rek'Sai. I'm also putting all the other bruisers in the team planner. If I lose this round or don't farm any gold, I'm probably not going to hold it because making 50 is insane. It gives my Kobuko more HP, and you really want to be having those interest thresholds as usual. So over here, I'm facing a pretty weak board, which is lucky. I farm a gold, which is good. All right, then you can see over here, I'm just in a good spot in general because I have 50 gold. I have decent components, and even though I only have 4 Kobukos, I can see that there's another Kog'Maw player, which thins out the 1-cost pool, and if I don't get screwed too hard by items, I'm in a good spot. So I just put out all the bruisers in my team planner. I got a Tom Kent from Orb, which is good. And the most important part about this comp and 1-cost reroll in general is the 3-1 roll down. I'm going to slow it down over here. Remember how I said that on 3-1, you really want to be making sure that you roll like at least 30 gold. Never go below 30, especially with this Kobuko comp, but you want to just hit all your units and get all the bruisers in. I'm just going to slow down the roll down, so it's going to be better. I do hold additional 1-cost pairs, which isn't the most optimal, but if you're able to do it with your APM, you can do it. I'm never looking to go below 50 here. I got pretty lucky in my roll down, finding 2 more Kobukos, and the important part here is making sure that I didn't overextend my gold or roll too deep. I'm not in a position where my HP is low or pressured at all. I did see there were a few Kobukos on other people's benches, but in general, I hit a Rek'Sai 2, Riven 2, I have Tahm Kench for next level. I am holding a few extra 1-cost pairs that aren't in the comp, so it isn't, so I can sell those for additional gold as well. But what's important here is that me recognizing that I don't need to dig deep. I can always slow roll above 50. I spent a bit of gold on level 4 odds to hit Kobukos and Rek'Sais, but just being able to stay above this threshold is super important because you really want to stay above 50. Now for the hero augments on 3-2, I'm just looking at the stats for the most part, but I did cover what are good augments. I can see initially none of these are really good. When Pandora's got buffed, it gives 2 random components, which is really good. But I already have near perfect items for my Kobuko. I just need the last tank item. So immediately in my head, I can roll out Pandora's. Harm Assist and Sleight of Hand aren't the best as well. I'm immediately going to look to reroll all of these options. So you can see my mouse like kind of go to the left. I'm just looking at the stats to see which is best. But I already know that none of these are really good. I'm probably going to have to take Unified here, which is a mid-combat augment for this comp. It's definitely not the worst option, but there are a lot better. And fortunately, you want to spend all your rolls because I see Jewel Lotus. Now, Jewel Lotus for sure isn't the best gold augment in Lucky Paws, but I know there's some tech to where you can build Steadfast Heart for Kobuko instead of having a Bramble, because Steadfast does give a glove. So even though I don't have any tank components, it's gonna be really good. You can see over here, I'm just staying above 50 gold. I am holding extra 1-cost pairs within the pool a bit, but I'm making sure to not roll too deep and in general just farm more gold so that my Kobuko can accumulate those HP stacks. And then just looking around, you can see David Ace is probably angling Lilia or Syndra with that Natural Slam. And this encounter is the Darius encounter, which does make it a bit awkward because I do have a full bench, but it's going to be really good for me because in my head, I can reroll all the 1-cost and I don't have to push more and roll more for the Kobuko. Now, it's a bit complicated here because typically you want to stay above level 5 when you play Lucky Paws. But in my mind, I'm thinking I can definitely like roll a bit for that last Kobuko and then level once I find one more. So you can argue that I didn't even need to roll one more time for the final Kobuko. But over here, I can just reroll these 1-cost for the rest of the stage and stay above 50, which is the most important, while pushing levels. Level 6 is pretty natural if you don't have a Bruiser +1, because you can play 4 Bruiser and 3 Story River. So that's what I like to do. And in my mind, I'm just thinking this spot's really good. I want to form out a backline in my head, which is probably going to be Morgana and Irelia if I hit it later. And it's just going to be a really smooth transition because I hit this hero augment, because I hit this encounter. Being able to reroll these 1-costs while pushing levels is super important while staying above 50. And in the carousel, I can immediately see this Silas with a red buff, which I really want. But if I don't get it, which someone should take because it's a Silas, I can immediately think what's the best component I can have. In my guide earlier, I said that you can pick Chain or Glove because it flexes into Bramblefast or Steadfast. But the reason why I picked Glove was because it was on a Zoe and it is better than a 1-cost Chain. So I just elect to do that. Now, I recall when I was in this spot, a few of my friends were like watching the game through Discord and they messaged me after the game saying, "Oh my god, you should roll." But in this spot, you should never roll because your odds of hitting a Kobuko here are going to be so good. In my mind, I'm just going to level 7, and if I somehow don't natural a Kobuko from the Darius encounter, I'm just gonna roll a bit in 7 to have odds to hit Silas and Galio as well. There's no point wasting your gold on these 6 odds when you know you can push level 7 for sure. Now in this stage, I just elect to keep the Story River board, and just evaluating the spot, it is pretty high roll because the last component I got was a cloak, which allows me to build a declaw, and I am farming a lot of gold with pretty decent combat augments. So I'm just looking to level over here. You can see this guy's angling Ashe with Dragon Spirit. He already has the Nautilus, and I just scouted the lobby and saw that no one was contesting this comp, which was really good. There was a guy that was contesting Bruisers. You already saw the Crown Guarded guy who's gonna look to play that Sage Silas, which was good 2 patches ago. But yeah, get a really lucky win over here, and we're gonna be able to level to 7, staying above 50, which is the most important. I did kind of low roll, not hitting any Kobukos, but in my mind, next turn I'm just gonna slow roll above 7. 20% odds isn't the worst for one Kobuko. And I'm still able to hit TK pair, Aatrox 2 and stuff like that. And I should probably be selling stuff on the bench to make sure that I have enough space, but it's fine. I hit a Riven pair over here. And this is pretty complicated because I do want to roll these 1 costs for the chances of a Kobuko 3. But I also want to hold like Riven. So let's see what I sell here. I think I like to just roll a bit. Yeah, I get a bit dizzy because I'm hitting everything, but I just want to hit 1 Kobuko. Yeah, hitting that TK2 frees up the bench pretty nice, and I'm just rolling for Zoe upgrades and stuff on 7. And then I did get lucky being able to hit a Kobuko over here. And this is a really good spot. I'm level 7, 50, and 4-1 because I was able to farm so much gold from Kobuko. Right, and then for a 4-2 augment, immediately you can see that well-fed is one of the best options. And I kind of laugh over here at the bottom right, but I can reroll left and right. I think the only thing that would be better is heavy hitters. And well-fed is incredibly effective because you're going to have a lot of HP scaling from the bruiser tag. And it's going to be one of his best augments in general. I level for a Galio, which I'm able to find from my shop. And I find this Soraka with Altris. Altris is usually the next in if you have 6 bruiser already. Something like a Morgana or a Soraka to round out. And with the 2 Storyver, you really want to be looking at an Aurelia. And with this spot, I can immediately try to go 9 because I don't need to really roll for anything. I see that Silas is contested. There's no real reason for me to roll. So I just want to evaluate my spot later on and save some econ so that my Kobuko can gain HP. Then I'm able to win here. I'm incredibly strong even though I don't have a secondary backline carry or any anti-heal yet. You can see over here, I got lucky again with the encounter. It easily could have been an item encounter where I get an artifact where I can't put it on Kobuko. But I insta-click the health option. This is the Ari encounter that gives your team a combat blessing. And in bruisers, HP is going to be really broken because all of your bruisers scale with max HP. And it's going to just augment even... It's going to make Kobuko's Lucky Paws even better because his damage scales with HP. Then now I can just see over here that I'm planning to go 9. There's no real reason for me to roll. So I'm just going to chill and just look around and scout. Just make sure to position well. And next person I'm fighting, the Exalted guy, who's playing the Ash board. Now, this was the meta where Porcelain Ash was better before they completely nerfed Lissandra and Lux and Porcelain in general. So you won't really be seeing 4 Sniper for Warden because this was 3 weeks ago. But I'm going to be really strong. This is a counter matchup if they are playing 4 Warden, but fortunately that comp wasn't that good yet. And yeah, I'm able to get another massive win and hopefully go level 9. And for Carousel, I know I have an open bow and a rod, so I really want to look for anti-heal. I'm looking for a bow or a belt so that I can make Morello a red buff. This is perfect. I get Tom Kench plus a bow, so I'm able to put it on Zoe. And in my mind, I'm just envisioning this Zoe as my Aurelia. And that's going to be my late game carry. You see over here, I am holding a Lilia that will grief a few of the other players. I think this was the patch where Lilia was freshly buffed, so she actually became viable in the meta. And I mean, I know it's rat behavior, but it's really good to grief other people in a tourney when it doesn't hurt your econ. I'm just going to sell this at the end of the round. You can see I fight Kerm over here, who is playing that Lilia board. He hasn't rolled down all his gold, but it's going to be pretty good for me to hold this until I need to sell it. And yeah, the fights are just going well in general. Luckily, he's only on Lilia 1, so that I don't get stuck on any tanks. He is on any 2, which could be annoying, but that Zoe's really huge as I'm able to get anti-heal on the any and burst through his front line. Then over here, we have another encounter. This is one of the rare games where there's a lot of encounters in general. This one doesn't affect the game that much. It's just a bit more HP and a bit more frontline for my team. Yeah, not much to see in this stage after the carousel. I'm just over here. That's what I said earlier. A lot of players maybe would be tempted to roll for the Silas too because I do have a Crown Guard on bench with red buff already. But I knew from the beginning that it's going to be contested. Since I was able to find a Galio, I don't really need to roll for the Silas or anything else. So I'm just in a good spot in this game. I'm looking to win out to cap out my 4th game. I placed buff 4 last game, and I really want to do well for the rest of the tourney. But yeah, I'm just in a good spot. I'm going to wait for my components. Probably looking to have dual carry items on Silas. Sucks that I don't have one. I'm scouting around to see how many are gone, but if I don't find a Silas, I can just jam the items on Galio. It's not the biggest deal. You can see over here, I did get lucky this game. As I said earlier, I found a Rakan and a Silas in my shop, so I should just sell this and level. I know that this level will put me below 50 gold, but being able to level for this Rakan is massive as it gives 3 Ultras, and I'm still able to maintain my econ threshold. So I just replaced the Rek'Sai for Silas, built double Crown Guard, and Silas is super effective, especially in 14.9. His best items are going to be stuff like Spark and Crown Guard, so being able to have a duo carry before Irelia is going to be great in this comp. Fortunately, I face a Ghost on 5-1. I'm facing that Ash board without a completed items before he slammed. I'm just in a good spot. And in this spot, I'm even thinking of going 9. I'm just going to scout the rest of the lobby to see how everyone is. And I can see over here, there's an Ash board. There's a Lilia board from Kurum. And I honestly don't need a roll for the Silas yet because the guy who has it, Wukong TFT, has 3. So there's no real reason for me to roll. The only thing I'd really be rolling for would be this Rakan 2 or an Irelia. But in this spot, I would just sit and evaluate next turn. Now, David Ace is super strong. He did hit that Azir 2. And Azir is a pretty big counter to Lucky Paws if he's able to cast a lot. Because your Kobuko can get stuck on the soldiers. So I think I lose this matchup. I'm not sure, but it's going to be a pretty tough matchup in general until I hit that Irelia to pierce the backline and potentially kill everyone in the back. I hit another Galio, which is good. And at this point, I'm thinking, should I go 9 or 10? It's a pretty difficult spot because I am 48 HP, which I'm still thinking, I don't want to throw this spot that I have. So I'm just looking around. I'm going to sack one more before carousel and see if I have to roll. I'm making sure to position over here, making sure that Silas is next to the Kobuko so they can focus fire, anti-heal on safe side. And then I face Vuo, who doesn't have the best Lilia board. It is pretty deadly if I do get stuck on a tank, but fortunately my positioning is pretty good. See, over here I can see that I get stuck on the Nautilus. This is what I said earlier. Like, you can get stuck, but I think with good fight RNG, I'm able to like kill a lot of units, almost win against him. Right, and then after that round, you can just see that I'm just positioning my units, making sure that Silas and Kobuko are in the same side so that I can focus fire. Same with the anti-heal from Zoe. And I'm probably going to be pushing 10 from this spot because there's no real reason to roll unless it's for 1 Irelia. And I want to evaluate if Wukong TFT, who's holding all the Silases, dies. And Vuo has 7 as well, so it's going to be really hard. Then over here, you can see I'm facing a Lilia board. The Silas does dash to the backline, which is pretty bad, but Kobuko does get a few kills. Unfortunately, I am stuck in this Nautilus for a while. Super good items, and it's very tanky. So I'm able to kill the Nautilus, but in the end, just lose by 1 unit, which is unfortunate. Then as a last item, I'm looking to round out my Silas things. I'm looking at Vow or Bramble over here, but I'm just going to see what everyone takes first. And then I do end up settling. Yeah, I do end up settling with a Bramble. This is for our last Silas item. The lobby is majority AP, but you always want that last Silas item. And then over here, I think that I need to roll a bit because I am getting a bit low. I don't think these guys are dying anytime soon or the Silas. So I'm just going to roll to see what I hit. I'm looking for that Irelia Mania. I hit Galio 2, which is huge. And then I'm holding extra legendaries. And then that's what I really want to see. This Irelia spikes my board so much. Because unlike Zoe, who is a really good mid-game holder, Irelia can hit the backline and provide shred. It's really good. I played that Dragon Lord and Duelist as well from Lee Sin. Round up some synergies. And yeah, over here, unfortunately, I face a pretty weak board. This guy's playing Syndra and couldn't complete his last item. It's pretty lucky. There's no chance he beats me. So I send him bot 4. And after this win, I can say that I can go level 10 because you can see he unfortunately lives on 1 HP, but I have so much money that I don't really need to roll that much. I do get the Irelia pair, which incentivizes me to go 10. I pre-level, and I'm actually kind of scared over here because my HP is low. I think I could have sacked one more in retrospect, but leveling over here isn't the worst because it is nearing the end of the game. Kobuko did get a lot of HP stacks. Then over here, I did get an Irelia in my shop, so I'm able to level to 10. I was a bit scared in this spot because everyone was looking kind of low. The HP values were pretty close, but I have pretty good odds to hit it. And what I really want is the Silas 2 and Irelia. So I'm just able to sit above 10. And you don't need to stay above 50 that much late game because there's going to be a few rounds left. You're really looking to get most of your HP stacks early game and mid game. So it's not the worst level over here. Fortunately, I'm able to beat this guy and kill him. I think he missed pretty hard on Ashe and he's just level 9. So he can't find that front line. So I was able to beat him. And yeah, looking pretty close to top 4. My shops are really lucky this game. As I said, I'm able to hit that Irelia 2 pretty much naturally. It isn't contested this game because a lot of people were leaning into that Sage Lilia. But in general, I'm just really happy I hit this Irelia. Gonna look to round out for our last Irelia item. I hit that Silas from Orb. I told you guys, yeah, this game was the really high roll Kobuko Lucky Paws game. So yeah, instantly click DB over here. And I'm just gonna be scouting to see if like I need to like position different or roll more, but after hitting that Lee Sin pair, I can stay above 10 at least. I still need to hit that Rakan. That Silas 2 will be massive. So something like this board is what you really want to envision for your late game board for Lucky Paws. You want to be playing around that Irelia and legendaries. I don't think Lissandra is the best, but it does give me a disruption ability. And I'm fighting Kurum, who has a pretty pretty good Lilia Sage board. It isn't the most capped, but I'm able to beat him because this Kobuko has stacked up so much that declaw is going to be massive against AP units in general. And I'm able to hit Kirim for a good amount of damage. And I just really want to make sure that I top 1 this game. I'm in a good position. Don't really care as much about the interest anymore. I really want to hit the Silas too. I saw that Wukong TFT died, who held 3 Silases. And this point of the game, I can really win out if I position correctly. I am a bit scared of David because he does have that Azir 2, which I can get stuck on. But you can see over here that the Silas 2 already is making a big difference. So being positioned on the left side with all my carries, I'm able to hopefully overwhelm the left side. And at this point, Silas is tanking so much. This was pre-nerf Silas, so he's doing a lot more damage and be able to kill David off. It's going to be a 1v1 in the end versus Vuo, who is that other Sage Lola player who's a bit more capped. I'm thinking over here if the Azir or Lissandra is better, but I just really want to roll down and see what I can put as my last in. I'm just looking to see my next in. I do hit that Irelia 2, an extra one, which isn't the worst. I accidentally ping. I swear I'm not toxic, but you know, it was a misping. Sometimes it happens. And at this point, I think I'm just really strong. He does have a really good board. Nautilus fortunately misses on Silas somehow, so he's able to pierce through the backline, and I'm able to win this game. So this game was just an example of a pretty high roll Lucky Paws game. I'm able to recognize a 2-1, which was most important. My spot to be able to pick this augment, which was having a redemption, which is one of his best items, and having being uncontested Lucky Paws. So this game was pretty well played for me, in my opinion, and it allowed me to have a pretty good cushion to be able to advance to the next day. In Tacticians Trials II, I believe I made it to the second day before getting day 2'd. So my day 1 performance wasn't that bad, and this game really helped me gather a lot of points early. So the next game I'm going to be showcasing is from Dreamhack Dallas. This is day 1. It was an open Swiss tourney which acted as a qualifier to Tacticians Trials 3 and the Tacticians Cup if you made top 4. And this tourney was special because I placed top 14, which was really good, even though I choked the last day. But there were also a lot of other good players like Ramblin, Ramen Blitz, Connor. These 2 made regionals, and you have a few Masters players as well. So it was a very cool tourney experience in general. You can see that since this was an open tourney, I think my first lobby was 6 people. So there are a few randoms that don't play the game that much. The lobby strength is going to be skewed, as you're going to see later. But we're going to go into the portals. I really like 3-cost champions in general because I don't like high variance portals. I don't really mind playing around items, so I don't like Anvil Buffet as much. But, you know, at least no one's voting for this vendor Sentinels. So you can just see over here with Anvil Buffet, generally comps that require bits on units will be slightly better, such as Ashe, Wardens, Duelists will be able to force those melee items, and hero augments such as Shen and his Ethereal Blades, or Kobuko and his Lucky Paws will be able to excel. Now, since this early game, I just really want to be making sure that I'm holding all my pairs. I'm just going to be playing around the story reverse over here. This is a small thing I really like to do. I like grouping the units on my bench where they can work together. These are the story reverse, the bruiser will be here, and I sell TK. I am a bit slow when picking up this Ari, but this is the first game of the day, and I only had 1 warm-up game. So I'm just playing around that, and then you can see Kobuko over here, and I'm just seeing what I'm playing around. I do believe I pick up the Nico, but it isn't that big of a deal. I should be picking up probably the Shen because it's ghostly, but I like to do the Nico. Then over here, you can see our 2-1 augment choices. Immediately, my eyes are drawn to Epoch because it's one of the best augments in general to take when playing 4-cost carries. And in the meta where 4-cost comps are really good, gives you a lot of econ. I don't really like Salvage Bin as much in a galaxy where you already get items and choose them, so I don't think this is that good. And Healing Orbs just isn't the best 2-1 because you won't have as many units. It can clutch you a few fights, but I don't like it. Immediately roll Healing Orbs, and I'm thinking of Extended Duel as a decent option. You just really want to scout. It's not the best Duelist Augment 2-1 compared to stuff like Keepers, but I'm just going to be looking around to see in the lobby if anyone's angling Duelist. If I can take this, I can immediately see there's an Idealism player, and I believe someone took Keepers. You can see over here. So I'm just skipping that in my mind. And I was going to take Epoch, but luckily with the extra roll, I'm able to see Lucky Paws. Now, I am lacking Kobukos, but I already know that I'm playing for top 4 because I just need top 4 in points to advance. Because I need, I think this day was top 48 or something, points to advance. So I don't really need to place first every game. But this spot, it's not the worst because I'm able to choose my items. You can immediately see I get belt first in the tier. And I'm able to play this Kobuko. I got pretty unlucky not seeing any early game bruisers, but it is what it is. I'm probably going to lose streak here because my board isn't that good. And another important thing I do is keeping this component Anvil on the bench. You really don't want to be popping this before carousel. I'm going to show you a trick I do later. And you can see over here, the first encounter, it's not really high in fact. You're just a bit more speedy. My FPS this tourney wasn't that good. So low-key I did get trolled a bit with the encounters, but yeah. I'm just trying to see my best board over here. I'm putting the bruisers so I can manifest them in my team planner. And I can see that I think someone is playing around an early Kobuko too. Not the biggest deal, but it is going to hurt a bit with my chances of finding more Kobukos. See Boitana over here. He's angling that. Pretty sure duelist. He ended up playing Yone reroll this game, but he was one of the randoms, so I can't excuse him for, picking this line. But yeah, I'm just going to be trying to aim for a loose streak over here. I think someone was sacking, but I don't really want to play that strong of a board because I want a loose streak. Kindred offers a temporary item is the next encounter, so I'll just pick Sunfire. There's no real good holders for GS, so I'm just gonna put this. Should be waiting one just in case I'm fighting someone really weak, so I get Carousel Prio, but it's not the biggest deal in the world because people. I don't think people were sacking that much except for Ramblin, who had scoreboard scrapper. But over here, this is the other random in the lobby. My Kobuko wrapped, so I'm able to get more gold. I'm just scouting around, and you can see in the bottom right, I did have a Soju face cam, and I was just commenting how Ramen Blitz had 3 of my Kobukos. Not the biggest deal. I think he was angling Ash this game. Yeah, so carousel over here, you can see a little trick I do. You can pop the anvil with your sell button, which for me is Shift E, or just drag it right before the carousel. So you can see the components you're going to get during carousel. And since I'm first pick, I can see that with my anvil, I'm able to pick chain. I just want to make bramble. I know last game in the high roll Kobuko one, where I played in Tacticians Trials II, I chose steadfast heart, but since I don't have jewel lotus, bramble is fine. Imagine if I pick cloak from Nico in the carousel. I know declaw is better, and it is on a 3-cost unit, but I'm not guaranteed to hit a cloak on the thing, and I just really want to complete my items. And declaw won't be that hard to guarantee here, because I have the anvil buffet to play off later. So in this spot, I'm just chilling. I'm on that 3 loss, so probably 1 and 5 loss. The problem is I don't have a lot of Kobukos and I don't have bruisers, so it is a bit tricky. I am making those interest thresholds, so I'm able to stack my Kobuko. Yeah, not much else going on here. I probably want to start a loose streak. When I'm 3 loss, I generally don't want to aim for a 5. Like, I'm trying to save HP, but if I lose the next round, I always want to, get a 5 loss. Winning here isn't the biggest deal, but in this spot, it's probably the most optimal to go for a 5 loss to get that economy going. You can see Ramen Blitz. Did meet him in Dreamhack Dallas. He was really cool, but he is holding those Kobukos. He has an extra one on bench. What's going on there? But it should be chill. I do find a Tom Kenshin shop, but over here, I'm trying to find what the shitter units are so I can sack my board. I already know that Ramblin, he's the one who won Dreamhack Dallas. A really good player. He's going to be leaning into that AP from Scoreboard Scrapper, so I'm just going to trap my units. So over here, I full open. I think he scouts me. I did VOD reviews game and says he saw me doing the sacking, so he did play a weak board. You do want to secure that 5 loss so you get +4 gold since you get 2 on this round and then 2 on the next. See, I get Garen, which isn't the worst, but I am lacking those Kobukos. There are a few that are out of the pool, so it's going to be a bit tricky. Same principle over here with the red versus green. I'm trying to see what I pick. I'm debating. I just picked green because it's safer. I know red is higher cap, and I'm probably guaranteed shred somehow, but green is always a safe pick. I don't think it's the best in this comp, but I just wanted to secure that shred for the mid game. So I am 5 loss. I will roll a bit. I'm going to slow this down like I did last time to 1x. But yeah, you really don't want to be rolling deep, as I said again, on 3-1, because you want to be above 40 gold, max 30. But you can see my amazing luck over here. Do hit that Rek'Sai, do hit that Garen. Amazing units that I definitely need in this comp. Wow, like Story Champion would have been really cool. So I am missing those units. I am holding extra 1-cost pairs. And hello, where are the Kobukos at? Yeah. So I didn't hit any Kobukos, and this is where I'm thinking, oh, game 1, and I really don't want to be bot 4ing in a lobby where 2 of them are already random. So the spot isn't the best, but you can see here, I don't like rage roll and like go below 30. I'm actually able to make 40 over here. I am malding in the bottom right, but there's only 3 Kobukos out, and I did miss. So the most important thing to do here is obviously don't roll below that threshold, and then you can always recover your econ and see your spot next round, right? Like, since I only have 4 Kobukos, there's no reason to go below 40, and you still want to stack that extra HP on the Kobuko. But yeah, so I did get unlucky this game, told you guys, and I think a few people were yapping at my chat, so I banned them for a bit. They were like my other friends, but they were a bunch of yappers. All right, so going into the hero augments over here, we can see that we have some interesting options. I think uplink in Kobuko is terrible. He doesn't really need that extra mana. The HP is nice, but you don't really want your prismatic to be uplink on a comp where most of your items are going to be concentrated within the Kobuko. I'm thinking Lucky Gloves is really good in this comp. I think the only better option would be something like Final Ascension or maybe Jewel Lotus 3, but I am just looking at my options. I don't really like blinding speed, even though it does give me that red buff for anti-heal. Just because it is anvil buffet and I'm able to basically have a lot of agency with my items and potentially get anti-heal already. So I don't pick uplink. It's the first time I reroll. Bulwark, bro, I already have like full bis Kobuko. I don't need this at all. Roll blinding speed. Unleash Arcana is completely useless. So I just pick Lucky Gloves. And Lucky Gloves has a bit more value in this because I'm able to secure more gloves because it's anvil buffet. So it honestly is a pretty above average prismatic. I'm pretty happy with what I hit. What I'm not happy with, however, is not hitting any Kobukos. So I'm just sitting here. I can make a TG, which is nice. I do want that declaw component. I think I was looking to finish off a TG, but half a declaw is never bad because cloak's typically not contested. So yeah, this spot is looking pretty bad. 2 Kobukos. Fortunately, the lobby wasn't the highest tempo because it's pretty top heavy. You can see Connor and Ramen are streaking. Ramblin's already gonna win out, as you know, because Scorber Scrapper. He does find that blue buff Silas with a spark, and this tourney he actually did interesting tech where he played around Silas a lot. Ramblin did win Dreamhack Dallas, and I've seen him lean into this Silas where if he misses on Syndra, he actually itemizes Silas with a blue buff and like AP items, like pure AP Silas. And since he had Joel Lotus, it's not the worst. So Ramblin does get that win over me. My board's straight up terrible, but I just have to roll above 50 every round. I did get lucky hitting that Kobuko pair, holding all the extra bruisers, but yeah. I mean, this spot is still terrible. If you ask me over here, it's a 6.0 average, but let's see if I can turn this spot around. In Carousel, I'm looking for a glove or a cloak, maybe even a Kobuko, but yeah. I cloaked the Kobuko here because there's no encounters in the top, and there's nothing really that would screw me over from slamming around a declaw. Like, at this point, I really want to win out, right? Because I'm 50 HP, and the only way I'm winning out is having this Kobuko and going 9 somehow, being able to hit that Kobuko 3. Even though I don't have like a lot of Kobukos, I have 6 at this point. That's the only way I can win. There's no reason for me to like push levels before hitting it. I do get that Ornn with a cloak, which is pretty lucky, and I'm just putting everything in my planner. I am gonna hopefully get that Irelia as well. And let's see if I can hit Kobuko 3. 3, 5, 6 Kobukos, only 3 gone. Nice. I hit 1 more Kobuko. At least I did hit that Aatrox, but I don't really want to send it that much. I was looking to hit maybe a pair. With 1 more Kobuko, I'm okay with sending it to like 30 or 20 because I am keeping that HP gain from the Kobuko, but I'm also like making sure I don't send it to true 0, right? At this point, I can probably sit. Fortunately, this guy was the random and his board had a random Caitlyn 3 somehow. He wasn't even itemizing it. I did get extremely lucky this round, but yeah, I did win. I probably want to hit Kobuko 3 this round. So let's see if I can hit it. Hit that Tom Kench, Zyra, 1 more. I'm just going to send it here. Like, it doesn't matter. I need to save HP. Luckily, on those level 5 odds and with the uncontested Kobuko, I'm able to hit. And at this point, I do have Biz Kobuko, but yeah, I'm level 6. I spent so much gold rolling, level 630. And it's not looking like the best spot. This guy hit Keeper's Duelist Crest, like a high roller. And I think I was able to beat him here. But yeah, this spot is still not that good. I needed a miracle at this point to play around a good backliner with Kobuko. I think I was playing around my lucky gloves because I can get a lot of gloves from Anvil Buffet, but yeah. Just praying that I don't go 8th in the lobby with randoms and like 2 gold players. You can see over here, it just drops anvils. I level, and I don't really want to roll that deep. I do pop an anvil to get TGs. Like TGs with lucky gloves is insane because it guarantees biz for units with thieves gloves, and then I should be popping these, but I think I'm scouting. These could easily be like another TG or anti-heal. I do want to start building for that Morello or red buff on something like Zoe or eventually Aurelia. But I do face Connor. I think Connor in this game missed pretty bad because I watched Ramblin's POV and then he didn't hit that much in this roll down. So lucky for me, another freebie round so I can come back. So over here, we have our choices for augments on 4-2. Immediately, I can reroll this Ghostly Crest. Unfortunately, I had it because of the cane. So this -1 augment slot, but it's fine. Keepers isn't really the best on Lucky Paws because Keepers is really only good in duelists, and the shield will expire. So as Kobuko lives for so long, it won't be much value. I think I'm gonna take Ascension if my left augment isn't that good. Crash Test Dummies isn't that good in this comp as well. You can just check the stats for it, but I'm debating. I think I take Ascension here, and I'm a high roller. Like heavy hitters is insane on Kobuko because he gets so much max HP, and he's able to get so much AP and AD from that. So heavy hitters is one of the best options. I got bailed out again. I did get a belt in the initial anvil, so I was looking to complete my Morello, but I did miss the rod, so I just elect to get a glove. And honestly, at this point, my spot's not the worst. I am lacking backline damage. If something kills my Kobuko or if I miss position, I'm cooked. I do fight Ramen Blitz, who has the really effective Ash board. I am wrong side, so his snipers do proc more. It's gonna be really tough to kill this Amumu in the Warden setup. I think I'm not sure if I won or lost this. Let me see. But yeah, I do lose this round pretty bad. 31 HP. Do you guys think I can win from this spot? I don't know. It's looking kind of bad. But there's no reason for me to roll in 7. I really want to cap around 6 bruiser when playing this comp. As I said earlier, you'll really want to get at least 6 bruiser minimum. Even more so when you have heavy hitters to get more HP, to get more AD and AP in general. But yeah, I mean, this spot's looking kind of bad. 31 HP, 4-3. I think this player is another duelist player who had a weird setup with Dragon Lord, so I got a free parking round. But my board simultaneously isn't the best, but definitely needs a lot of work. Now, I think for over here, I either go for Thieves Gloves or Morello, because I have Open Glove, Open Belt. I don't have Anti-Heal. See what I go for over here. I do get the route taken because it's on a Wukong, so I just go for another TG. Not the worst. I do envision having my TG on something like a legendary, like Rakan later, maybe even Aurelia. But I'll just put it on like strongest unit right now. Do roll. I know it's like not. I know it's not that good to like dip below 10, but I'm at a point in time where I need that 6 bruiser, right? I need to hit something like Galio or Silas to amplify the strength of my comp, and I'm still on this Kane 1 carry. So, and I hit Aurelia. So I really want to get something going there, but Aurelia is really good. I instantly put TG on her. I think I could have justified greeting TG on like Aatrox or someone, or even Zyra to move it to a better story river. But at this point, I just really wanted to be strong. TG's my greatest in. Even though my Morello holder has to be someone else or something like a Sunfire, like I just really want to be strong at this point of the game. I did high roll Aurelia. So see over here, I'm facing this guy who's playing that Yone reroll, the Forbidden Comp. I am right side, so all my damage is concentrated. My Aurelia is able to kill as well with the Cane, and I did get lucky these 2 rounds. Don't get me wrong, that I got so many free, like, I guess free fights because their boards weren't that good. But, you know, we gotta hit those. I do hit a Silas pair on 2. I do hit a Silas pair on 8, which is really lucky because I remember Ramblin playing around the Silas and hitting a Silas too. This is the Darius encounter, which does free up slots on your bench to be rerolled for 5 rounds. So someone I rerolled that Ash, hopefully hit a Galio or a Silas. Yeah, you can see over here, if you hit 1 Galio or 1 Silas, you're able to play 6 Bruiser. That's the reason why the comp's really effective, is because while it is expensive sometimes to hit Kobuko, you can push levels with Silas 1, Galio 1 if you have like really good items for this guy. And if you high roll your backline or hit like a Morgana too, it's gonna be really effective. So luckily I face a Ghost again. I face a Ramblin's Ghost. You can see over here what he did. He's so good at these AP flex lines where he's able to play around Silas instead of like being tunneled with Syndra. Obviously, if you miss on Syndra with blue buff, Nashor's, Rabadons, it sucks. But like he's able to recognize that he can play around Silas too with a Jewel Gauntlet. So good at him. Yeah, this spot is a lot better after I won 3 rounds. Thank God I won 3 because it was really looking like a bot 4. But I just really want to hit Silas 2, hit Galio, and hopefully push levels. I am rerolling that Lissandra for odds to hit another Aurelia or Archon. I get away, which is pretty useless in this comp. I do get that Silas 2 from Orb with Lucky Gloves, which is insane. And I'm missing Anti-Heal. I should have checked to see if I was going to get Morello from this, but I guess Sunfire isn't the worst. My Morello holder would have to be a Zyra one, which isn't the best, because I already used my Lucky Gloves and Aurelia. At this point, the game's going to be a lot about positioning and me riding the wave to 9. I am facing Ramen Blitz, who did hit that Amumu 3. So Amumu is so tanky, and I think I'm like going to be stuck on this Amumu. Like, I'm so lucky that my Silas got upgraded, otherwise this would have been like a 50 unit loss. So I do have a bad matchup in the Ramen Blitz. My HP is looking kind of low at 5-2. And let's see if I can clutch it out over here. You can see that Silas is rolling. Honestly, I don't even think these are the best items on him, but it's whatever. And just want to make sure that I position well against the other team. 1 loss can put me into 1 life, and that probably means about 4, right? Over here, I do fight that amazing Yone 3, which I don't think is that good. Actually, in patch 14.12, in a few days, tomorrow, as of recording this, they are buffing Yone, Kane, and 4 Reapers, so maybe it's going to be better, but I really don't think this comp is that good anymore. You can just watch a Radiant Yone with Idolism and a Radiant item just like struggle to kill much on my board. Yeah, I mean, the fight is close, but I don't think Yone is that good. So would definitely not play this comp unless you have the condition, but luckily get a fight win over there. You can see I do roll a Wukong, which I don't think I can use that well in this comp, so just roll him again. I do level 9 because I am a bit scared. I am 1 life. Like, I know it's off interval when you level at 5-3, but at this point, I'm just playing for placements. Hopefully, I get a good matchup or position well. I am fighting Ramblin, who is super strong. This is what I said earlier, right? Like, he played around the Silas, which you now play in Faded. You play Faded, a lot of people play around the Silas too. as an alternative front line or just another carry that you can put like a TG or random stuff on, because he does give your team Umbral and Bruiser. Set's an Umbral, and Rek'Sai is a Bruiser. She's a Bruiser that, you know, you usually play in 4 Dryad setups, so it's gonna be a pretty good trait bot and sometimes can carry. Yeah, luckily I'm fighting a Ghost. The Syndra, I'm so lucky that she doesn't have any like additional items, but the Silas is able to clutch up that I got, able to hit Ramblin for a bit. Then I am second pick on the carousel. Umbral's fat for a few other players, but I don't think there's anything particularly good for me. I don't have open slots, and at this point I just probably just take the Story River because I am 2 out of 3, and since I don't have Galio, I don't have Story River active yet, and I don't have Shred on my board, so it's not the worst idea. This is why I picked green earlier. Yeah, the Darius encounter disappeared, and I am rolling for that Irelia 2. Go down, I find that Rakan. Good, like I hit everything in a reasonable time. Irelia pair, hit that Lee Sin 2, which isn't bad. I really want to move the TG to Lee Sin because he is better than that Tahm Kench. And then honestly, Lee Sin 2 doesn't do... Lee Sin 2 as like a tertiary or like 4 carry with Lucky Gloves. It's not gonna be the worst, right? I do position him like not the best at a few fights, but the Lee Sin with the Dragon Lord and Duelist will definitely do some work as the carry I need before I hit Irelia 2. So over here, Connor did miss pretty hard in his roll down. So I did get lucky. He has that Morgana to Lilia, which is effective, but I'm able to overwhelm the right side of his front line. So it's good for me. And looking at my spot at 4-1, I'm really surprised that I'm able to be healthy. It is partly because, you know, there are a few weaker players in the lobby who aren't playing the best comps, but I think I'm able to recognize that I can play for this Lee Sin 2. I'm able to roll the right intervals and just go 9. And looking at my spot from 3-2, I'm definitely happy with this result. So right now for me, it's just utmost importance that I position well. And over here, I'm able to dodge the initial Yone. I mean, I don't think this comp is that good. Once again, let's see over here. He does get close. The Yone is trying to overwhelm my front line, but the Silas is doing work. Aatrox does stay alive, which is huge, which applies the anti-heal to the other team. If my Aatrox died early and let's say I position the Aatrox on the outside, I'm really screwed because I don't have anti-heal on the Yone. But really good for me. I'm really just looking for that Irelia, and at this point, I still didn't think I would win. Like, Ramen's board is insane with that Amumu 3, and Ramblin is like probably gonna win out if he hits Syndra items. He moved all the items to Syndra, which is good. Just gonna be looking for an additional item over here. I think it's really important to roll first in these situations where you have to either choose to pop the item first or roll. Because you can always pop the items and fight, but you can't roll for your units after the round, right? So I just want to see if I can hit upgrades. I hit that Galio 2, which is pretty good. I'm rolling for that Irelia 2. Didn't hit it, but, you know, Rakan 2 isn't the worst compromise in this comp. He does give you that Dragon Lord and Duelist. I am 4-story River, but earlier I didn't have access to Galio, and I didn't know if I was going to hit, so it really isn't the worst. So at this point, I just want to position. I do put the glove on the Galio because I won't get any additional stuff until Carousel. Then yeah, just positioning for the most part. I do face a keepers player. When you play keepers, there's like a really particular way you want to position to give max keepers value. So he really should have, like, for example, Kiana over here next to behind the Lee Sin, so she can walk up. You want to put Tristana second row, which is fine because you want her to be able to jump to the back line and she'll be able to be safe anyways. Yeah, this guy trolled a bit by griefing his keeper's value, but hey, better for me. This fight isn't looking that close, honestly, so I'm not able to kill him, but good for me. I am now top in HP and streaking somehow. I'm telling you, this Lucky Paws comp, even after the nerfs, if you have the right augments and setup, you still have to high roll a bit, but you can still definitely do work, right? Over here, I am getting pretty fortunate with matchmaking because I am avoiding Ramblin, who is the hardest matchup. I thought it was Ramen, but Ramblin has that Syndra, which can just burst down all my melee carries, right? Over here, I'm facing Connor. It's a decent board. He's stuck in that not one, so I think I'm able to do pretty decent over here. I am wrong side, so I'm not able to overwhelm the Lilia and Morgana, but let's see if my guy's able to clutch it. 1v1 versus the Lilia. Can he ult? Yeah, I did get lucky with the... Even though I was wrong side, I was lucky that he was able to walk up to the Morgana. So I got that massive win over Connor, which puts me in a position to win this lobby where, looking earlier, I don't think I was able to do it at all. So let's see. Ramen Blitz does hit that set too. If I misposition my Kobuko against him, I'm like cooked. This is an interesting play I did. I sold the Irelia to put items in an Azir too. I just thought that against Ramen Blitz, where it's so hard to reach the backline anyways and kill, it would be slightly better to have Azir too. But I think I should have just kept the Irelia open. But it definitely does okay work over here. It's so hard against like a Mumu 3 in the Warden comp. Like you're definitely gonna get stuck. Like Set gets the extra cast, and I think I barely lose this one. Like, it was super close. Like, maybe one more cast versus the Mumu, I'm able to win. Yeah, you can see Connor dies, which is pretty lucky. Ramblin rotated into, I think it was a duelist player, which is pretty unlucky. Or I think oh no, I think Ramblin rotated into Ramen Blitz Ghost, which is really bad. I got bailed out by matchmaking because if I faced Ramblin, I'm cooked. Lucky for me over here. You can see it's a component. You can see over here that it's a component carousel, so there's an extra one. I do have an open glove. In hindsight, I took this Therax plus Rod, but I think there was a better option. I should have taken Spark plus this. Spark on Morgana plus Chain, because this would have been Steadfast Heart plus Shred. I just didn't see it at the time, so pretty bad mistake. I am apologizing in the bottom right as well, because I instantly noticed, but it's whatever. I am looking over here to see if Irelia 1 will be better against Yakuza, because he is that duelist player, and I think I'm able to recognize that against that duelist, having the Azir on that front line instantly is pretty valuable, so I don't need to remake this guy. So I do face the Ghost, which is pretty lucky. Positioning everyone in the middle, so because against a duelist player, usually they're going to be on the left side or right side, and being able to like chew through the middle front line for duelist isn't that bad, because you can see that they wrap around, and Lee Sin's not immediately on the Kobuko, which is nice. Just able to overwhelm his Ghost over here. So at this point, I'm really happy taking a second when my spot looked so doomed at stage 3 when I didn't hit. So last fight against Ramen Blitz, getting a second here is insane, and hopefully I'm able to beat the Hash player, but it's really hard. You can see that I noticed that the Lee Sin wasn't doing anything anymore. It's a pretty small mistake I did because I didn't have Irelia. So I can sell him for an open slot. I do move the TG to Irelia. She does roll a red buff, which is really good, but yeah. See what I can do over here. I want to make sure that my Aatrox isn't dead first, so I put him in the second row. And I just like have a desperation play line where I want to sneak to the back line. Because nothing's getting past this man. Warden's fat. 6 Warden, yeah. So luckily my positioning was really good this fight, and I think my fight RNG was in my favor as well. Even though Irelia is getting targeted, the set did at least not target my Kobuko. And yeah, I mean, Kobuko's a beast. Like, all of those extra like HP stacks in the early game really matter, because you can see that he barely lived, and I'm able to win this game. So you're telling me from this spot at around 3-2, and you see over here, 5 loss, 52 HP, I'm able to win out. So although the early game was pretty unfortunate, I did get bailed out by my 4-2 augment, and I was able to play around 6 bruiser pretty well to push 9, and with a bit of lucky matchmaking and, you know, pretty decent itemization and positioning, I was able to take a first for my game 1, which is pretty good in a lobby that was so stacked already. Yeah, so that's gonna be it. All right, thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it to the end, it took a while, so I appreciate all the support. Please make sure to sub to my channel. I promise I'm gonna upload more, and you can also check my artifact guide going bit.ly/TFT artifact. And I also made a Discord for all my YouTube stuff. It's pretty bare right now with a bunch of my friends, but I'm gonna pull up, talk about TFT, and look at all my future infographics. The link is in the description. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.